What's up, interwebs? I'm Tim Green, and this is my random channel. Yes, this is the first video, what was to be the TruthSayer Zero Draft update video. Because as I mentioned in my mid-year review of my goals video, that I'm going to start posting these videos now on a bi-weekly schedule and then to a weekly schedule once I start writing the zero drafts. These videos are going to be short and to the point.
This one's going to be long.
I have a lot to talk about.
So there's going to be timestamps down below. Like, subscribe. I got a lot to cover. Let's jump into it. And we're going to start with the struggle. I have constantly struggled with TruthSayer for a while now.
Actually, from the beginning.
I can never really pinpoint what I wanted out of this series, this story. If you want to learn more about that and other stuff about TruthSayer, you can check out these videos or the TruthSayer update playlist, because I'm only going to focus on my most recent struggles with my work in progress. TruthSayer is currently planned to be my debut novel, a standalone of 75 to 80,000 words in length. And I'm going to confess, probably for the first time here, that I picked that length due to the publishing cost of publishing an indie novel. Not having a lot of funds at the moment, it felt right to do a shorter novel for my debut. But I also believe in honoring the story that you're trying to tell without trying to bend, compress, conform it to predetermined constraints, which has led to the problem I'm having. What I've envisioned for this novel just will not conform to that goddamn 85,000 word length. It just won't. This can be seen in the scenes list I just recently finished. Without the prologue, the scenes list is about just 200 scenes. With the prologue, it's 223. Oh, and by the way, that scenes list I said that was finished, it's not. Taking inspiration from Scott Lynch's novel, Lies of Locke Lamora, I was planning on structuring this with chapters being in present tense and some interludes, or what I was going to be calling memories, of my protagonist's past to build the story. Now, if I included all the scenes that I planned on for those flashbacks, on top of my scenes list I have now, which remember, is not finished, we're talking about probably close to, or if not over, 400 scenes, which is just too many for an 85,000 word novel.
Way too many. Wow.
I think this is why I took a break back in May before I started working on this scenes list, because I just kind of knew I would not be able to fit the flashbacks into the novel. Right around that same time, I had an idea of what if I took those flashback scenes and, I don't know, put them into a Novellas series that built up to my debut novel. I myself was inspired by author and booktuber Daniel Green, and yes, Daniel, you stole my last name.
And I'm coming back for it. You will give me my last name back. I promise you, I will make you pay.
And his experience in publishing a novella first before tackling a novel as an indie author. I actually can trace back the idea for TruthSayer to publish a trilogy of novellas leading up to the novel, which was back then was this
grand epic standalone novel launching the Ethereal Records series I was trying to tell.
It was a good idea.
Oh, and that's what I'm doing.
But the question is, how many novellas? The novellas. How many novellas are there going to be? Well, when I look at the flashbacks and the important events that really shape Sing's journey, which is my protagonist, by the way, I found based on what I need to tell the story, I could get that into 6. The number is 6, right? Great, we know what it is. What's next? What's the plan of attack?
I wish I could tell you that.
Because it's not that easy.
Taking the length of the novel and the importance of the flashbacks to shape Sing's journey, and the length of my novel, it made sense to break off about 100 scenes into other novellas. Remember, that novel is not finished. And this is because I found a better climax than what I originally intended. One worthy of a chosen one story, so I need to add more scenes to get there. And yes, you did hear me correctly, I said novellas. I'm not cramming 100 scenes into a single novella. That would be a novel. Of those 100 scenes, I can easily break it down into 3, which would make 9. 9 novellas. And yes, I know what you're thinking. I do too think it. 9 might be too many. Though I do really like this idea of a trilogy of trilogies of novellas leading into the novel. This would allow me to really dive into the world and the events that shape Sing going into the novel. Though as I work on this number could change.
And has.
Since writing this script, I've actually broken that number down from 9 to 5, maybe 6, though I'm almost certain it's 5. I'm not going into how I did that, but just know the number of novellas is 5. And now that I know the actual number of novellas, this allows me to make a plan of attack, because I still want to achieve
writing the Zero Drafts in 2023.
the plan. My plan has 6 steps that will allow me to write the 0 drafts before the year ends. So let's jump to kick off the writing process, I need to finish the novel scenes list. The novel is the conclusion of the story, so I need to account for every aspect of the story before I've tackled the novellas. Knowing this will allow me to better set up the foundation of the story, which is in the novellas. When I finish the novel scenes list, I'll move on to, now it's time to dive headfirst into the stories of the novellas. Each novella has a 1-sentence plot summary. Here, I'm going to take that plot summary and expand it into a detailed paragraph. This will give me a very good overview of each novella's plot heading into step 3. And since I already have so many scenes for the novellas already planned out, this step will be much easier than if I didn't have it already. When this is done, I'll move on to, I'm going to create a detailed scenes list for each novella, just like I did for the novel. And that's where I scrap the rest of this steps in the script, because I go into talking about how this will help ensure each novella story deserves to be told as a novella, and then go on to talking about how novella number 2, I've questioned its existence.
I don't need to.
I figured this out already.
When I figured out it was going to be 5 to 6 novellas, this was taken care of. So all you need to know is, in this step, is each novella is getting its own detailed scenes list. When those are done, I will move on to, while working on the novel scenes list, I noticed that several scenes might work better if I merge them together. Not that I need to, but they might work better that way. So this step, I'm going to look at every scene and evaluate whether it would work on its own or better with merging it to another scene. But I don't want to compromise my vision for the story and how I structured it. It's a very complex way to describe my the story structure for this novel, but just put it this way. I'm focusing on telling smaller stories that when they add together, tell larger stories, and there's a few chains of how that happens. Just know I'm trying to streamline the novel as best I can while maintaining my structure. When this is done, I move on to basically what I just told you for the novel I'm doing here. Examining each scene, merging those that may need to be merged together, all that. And yes, I'm using the same structure for the novel here in the novellas as well. So when this is done, it allows me to move on to this step. Well, it helps me and start to achieve the goal I set out for 2023, writing the 0 drafts. But my approach is not very conventional in any way that will probably make sense to you. You see, I'm going to start with the last trilogy and then move on to the novel. Wait, I don't have a last trilogy anymore. I changed that. I only have 5 novellas. Oh, right, duh, I haven't changed this. Okay, so all you need to know about this is I'm going to start with the first novella that was originally a part of the novel, and go up to the novel. Then go to the first novella and do the rest. It allows me to deep dive into the important narrative and refine it and get a better understanding in detail of what I'm going to be doing in that. So when I go to the prequels, which is a setup, I can better place things in there to set up the novel. I know this makes no real sense, but that's how I'm going to approach it. And when that's complete, well, I've achieved the goal. Yay me. But we're not done yet. I know what you're going to say. But Tim, you said your plan had 6 steps. I know, but I couldn't help but add a 7th. Just note, this is not necessarily need to be completed before the end of the year. It's just, obviously, the plan. And this step is simply to write the first draft of the first novella. I'm going to start with the novellas, not the novel. As much, boy, how much I want to really tackle that novel first is so tempting. Oh God, the nightmares I would have of how much editing I would have to do. Oh, they already haunt me. Writing the novellas first makes more sense, so I know how everything plays out before I tackle the novel. And since this novel is looking to be much longer than I originally planned, there is no reason to add unnecessary editing if I don't have to. And that's everything for this TruthSayer update video. You can expect the next one to be much shorter. I'm gonna put 2 videos here for you to check out that I think you might like. Thanks for watching. Bye.